Hello, hello, welcome. We're so glad that you could join us today. Hello, humans, welcome. Go ahead and take a second while you're coming into the room. Thank you for joining our event. You can turn your screens on for this early part of the event. We'd love to see your faces. Hello, hello, welcome. We're so glad that you're here. Our event will be getting started shortly. If you'd like to take a moment to drop where you're watching from in the world today in the chat, we would love to know. I'm Carrie McDonald. I'll be your virtual events coordinator today. I'm coming to you from Washington, D.C. It is cold and the air is very thick with pollen, so it is beautiful, beautiful, cold, cold spring. So hope that you're having nice weather wherever in the world you're watching today. Like I said, take a moment to go ahead and drop where you're watching from in the world today. We're so glad that you're here with us. We'll be getting started shortly. We're going to let a few more folks in. I'm going to go ahead and drop in the chat a couple of messages while we're getting started. Hello, hello, friends. Welcome. We're so glad that you're here. Please feel free to drop where you're watching from. Got Fort Lauderdale, lucky. Oh, wonderful. Love to have some sunshine and some warmth right now. Wonderful. All right. If you have any questions about your Forbes Council account, I've already dropped in the chat a link to the concierge. They are an excellent team to reach out for resolving those kind of problems, any kind of problems that you may have. New Jersey, excellent. Welcome. We're glad that you're here. Ontario, Canada. Hey, at the wharf. Awesome. Love it. Love it. Love to see another DC person here or person in DC, however the case may be. Welcome, either way. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Student Richmond, welcome. All right, thank you all so much for joining us. We're going to get started very shortly. Okay, I've got a few slides to get started, so let's go ahead and go now. We just want to take a moment and say hello, welcome. Thank you for coming to AI Transformation on a Budget, Implementing AI Without Breaking the Bank. Welcome to our Forbes Business Council event. Our virtual experience will begin shortly. We want to encourage you to take a moment to make sure that you have downloaded our Forbes Councils app so that you can take us anywhere in the world you happen to be, whether you are in Fort Lauderdale, DC, New Jersey, or where have you. We hope that you'll take us with you and make sure that you can stay connected to your Forbes Councils friends. We want to take a moment to introduce our team as well. We have Angela Fanacaro. She's our groups and events promotions coordinator. And I'm Carrie McDonald. I'll be your virtual experiences coordinator. If you have any problems today, just go ahead and post in the chat and say, hey, Carrie, can you help me out with something? Or feel free to direct chat me if you need help with something, and I'll be happy to help. If you have any questions about your membership, you can feel free to reach out to our concierge team, and I've already dropped their link in the chat. They are great at helping you with all kinds of troubleshooting, and they're also just great to chat with if you want to talk about how to leverage and make the most of your membership. So they are some wonderful folks, so make sure to reach out to them. And we want to take a moment to introduce you to our member leader. We have Ashar Samdani, sorry, CEO of Code District. Welcome, Ashar. We're glad that you're here. And we have
Thank you.
our speakers, Ryan Scott, the head of product, AI and innovation for DNA behavior, and Zara Hamad, the director of sales and marketing for Code District. Welcome to both of you. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We also want to encourage you to engage with your Forbes Councils community. You can join a group, you can answer expert panel questions, you can launch poll or answer polls, comment, react to posts, follow and connect with members that you meet today, and you can even attend more events or apply to host an event. I'll make sure to drop the link in the chat shortly as well for how to do that. If you have an idea for a really great event that you'd like to be a part of and host, we can get you connected with folks who will let you know how you can do that. Speaking of upcoming events, 2025 is already full of great events. We want to make sure you don't miss any of them. Make sure you take a second to go to our platform today, go to the events page. You can toggle to upcoming to register for our upcoming events. Like I said, 2025 is filling up fast. We've got some great things, so make sure you don't miss out. And we also have past, so if for some reason you have to leave our event early today, it is being recorded. Most of our events are recorded, so make sure that you check out the bank there if you're interested in rewatching something or maybe checking out some events that you've missed in the past. It's a great resource to go and see some of the things that we've talked about in the past. Or if you have to bounce early because you have a meeting or a call, it's a great way to catch up on what you may have missed out on as well. We want to invite you to join us for our next event. Make sure to mark your calendars. We have on April 16th at 12 p.m. Eastern, we have our quarterly meetup. And we just want to say thank you. Thank you for joining us today. We're very glad that you're here, and we hope that you are having a wonderful day. First, I'd like to get us started with a brief poll. So I'm going to be pushing that out here in just a second. So we have a question today. If AI could take one leadership headache off of your plate, what would it be? Would it be reviewing reports that highlight the what but never the why? Would it be chasing team updates that sound more like status theater? Keeping track of which competitor copied your pricing this week? Or untangling compliance emails that are written like legal riddles? So take a second, answer those. I'm going to leave that up for about a minute. Yeah, I see we've got some answers coming in already. Thank you so much for those. We'll leave that up about another 30 seconds. So think about your leadership headaches. What really, really is difficult? What would really make things so much better for you? All right. Thank you so much for everyone participating. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and end this poll, and I will make sure to share the results. And I'm going to hand things over to Zara. Zara, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Carrie, for the warm introductions. Omar, would you kindly share the presentation? Yeah. Okay. So this presentation today is about AI transformation while being on a budget, especially targeted to small and medium-sized businesses. And before we, start off with the presentation, I would just quickly like to take a few minutes to introduce who we are, Core District, basically in general. So can I close this? Okay. So we are an AI-first digital transformation agency and software company, and we work very closely with business leaders across all industries and help them advance their organization with AI-powered purpose-built solution. So by purpose-built solution, what we generally mean is any kind of solution that can help address any specific pain point within your organization, be it a BI solution, a business intelligence-based solution, data analytics, data visualization, modernization of a legacy-based system. You might be using Excel or paper-based solutions, and we can actually automate that entire process, have insights and dashboards built out to you for you, have AI built powered solutions in the form of predictive analytics, different kinds of insights. And we have so far 180 plus projects within our umbrella, and we have worked with about 120 plus companies. These are some of the recognitions, awards and recognitions that we have under our belt. So these are the prominent clients that we have worked with in the past. You can see a lot of big names here, but yes, we have also worked with small and medium-sized businesses. So you'll see a mix of the portfolio here. So moving forward, this is our objective for today. We want to talk about the state of AI adoption among small and mid-market businesses, key challenges and fears preventing SMBs for embracing AI implementation strategies for resource-constrained teams, real-world use cases for SMBs that started small and scaled successfully, ROI measurement framework to ensure your AI investments pay off, and one viable AI case study. Actually, we have two in detail case studies to share with you today about how AI was implemented the right way and what kind of impact that they saw. So now moving forward, I would like to start off with the current state of AI adoption, particularly in the small business world. So as you can see the stats here, more than 50% of small businesses say at least one person within their company is already using AI in some way. 62% of companies that adopted AI report an increase in employee productivity. And about 62.7% say their employees have given positive feedback after AI was implemented. So it's not that small businesses aren't trying, it's that there are some real concerns. And we hear them every day during our discovery sessions with our clients and even prospects. The biggest one so far is the cost itself. And there is this perception with AI that it's very expensive and the return isn't guaranteed. But here's the thing. AI has been democratized. It's no longer reserved for big corporations with deep pockets. The entry point, especially for SMBs, is incredibly accessible now. The tools are lighter, the models are pre-trained, and the infrastructure is mostly, plug and play type. In fact, you can get started with AI today for less than what you spend on a few software licenses for your company every month. So the second hesitation that we hear a lot is, the technology is evolving so fast, it is so hard to keep up. And yes, AI is moving very quickly, very rapidly, but you don't have to upgrade every time, something new emerges or something new is released. You only need to adapt when you see that there is a new capability that can have a very real and direct impact on your bottom line. And that's the filter. Will it reduce costs? Will it, save time? Will it help you serve your customers better? And if that's not the case, it's okay. You can wait. The third concern that we hear a lot is the lack of in-house expertise. Many SMBs worry that they do not have the right talent within their organization to help them implement the AI. And I totally get that. But here's what's changed. AI is now incredibly accessible. You don't need a team of machine learning engineers to implement AI. There are plug and play tools, there are low code, no code platforms, and then there are, most importantly, implementation partners like us who are there to do the heavy lifting for you and there to handle all the complexity for you. So your team does not need to understand how all the neural networks work. They just need to know how to use the tool. And the good thing today is that AI tools today are designed to work like people think. That's the biggest breakthrough. It's now easy for computers to understand human and not the other way around. And that's what makes this tech so much more adoptable than anything that came before it. Employees can be trained quickly, systems can be more intuitive, and the learning curve is way shorter than you think. So don't let the jargon or the pace of innovation stop you. If your team can use a CRM or Slack or Excel for that matter, they can use AI as well. So now there are a few more concerns, that we have heard from our clients and different people we have been talking to, and they are valid as well, but they are also very solvable. The first is data security. A lot of businesses worry whether their information will be exposed when an AI system is involved, and that's a fair concern. But here's the reality. AI tools today can be tightly boxed in. You can define exactly what data the model can process or access and ensure that it never leaves your environment. So with the right kind of setup, your data stays completely protected, contained within your infrastructure or secured cloud instance for that matter. And it's not accessible to anyone outside your organization. Another common belief that we have heard a lot is that we don't have a use case for AI as such. Honestly, that's almost never true. Wherever there is a process that's manual, repetitive, and or data-driven, AI can help you. Whether it's about routing customer queries, analyzing documents, forecasting demand, automating reports, there's always an opportunity to apply it. Sometimes it's not that obvious, and that's where partners like us come in, to help you out, figure out, help you uncover early use cases, the low-hanging fruit, and show you how to start small and build something that is meaningful, impactful, and yet manageable. We also hear a lot that AI takes too long sort of to roll out. But that's also changed drastically with the new changes that AI has been, introducing. Many of the tools that we implement today are plug and play. You can literally start off using a custom built AI solution for your business in under 8 to 12 weeks. No exaggerations here. Whether it's deploying a chatbot, setting up auto responses, or integrating AI into your CRM, it can be set up and faster than you expect. And this is something that we have already done for a lot of our clients. So when we say this, we are talking from experience. And of course, lastly, there is that fear that AI can just get anything wrong. While it's a legit concern, no one wants to hand off a process to a machine to have it fumbled through something that is very important, whether it's recommending the wrong product or misclassifying a customer request, pulling insights for an incomplete data. But here's the thing: AI does not have to work in isolation. You can actually build human insight, oversight, and set guardrails and start small. You don't have to go from zero to full automation overnight. So most AI tools today, they test, monitor, and fine tune them in real time. So if something is off, you can catch it early. So now I would like to spend some time, since I've already talked about the fears and the blockers, now I would like to take a moment to actually look at what the data actually says. So, because while many leaders are still wondering, will this even pay off? Early adopters are already seeing the benefits of AI. And 69% of small businesses that are using AI have reported sustainable growth, even during worse market conditions like today. 74% of companies have already seen some form of positive ROI in their AI investment. And it's not like, it came around 5 years, 6 years later. These ROI, positive ROI impact, they show up fairly quickly right after a few months of the AI implementation. And here's the big one: 86% of businesses that are using AI have reported 6% or more revenue growth annually, not incremental tweaks, actual measurable bottom line impact. So if you're still thinking that, if AI is something of a nice to have for your business or something you would like to explore later when you have more budget, this is a sign that later might be costing you. So the earlier you start experimenting, the faster you learn, and the more of that compounding effect of the ROI you can start unlocking over time. So, and when we say this, talk about ROI, how AI implementation has a direct impact on it, we are talking from experience because this is something we have done for countless of our clients. We will also be sharing a few of real impact case studies with ROI stats, where we helped businesses expand exponentially through AI. Now, to let you guys know about how to get started with this AI implementation or transformation process, I would leave the floor to Ashar, and he can take it from there.
Hello, everybody. All right. So thank you for joining in. So we're going to talk about how we can go about implementing a certain AI solution or how you can leverage AI within your existing processes in your organization, and that too on a budget. So there are multiple approaches, and we're kind of going to cover or go through those approaches. The biggest thing to start off is really what we tell everybody that we work with, all of our organizations, that it doesn't never really starts off with the technology. It's always with, identifying your business needs or figuring out how your existing processes kind of work, and then identifying, pain points or problems within them. So kind of elaborating on that, the idea is that always start with the problem, not the technologies, because technology can keep changing. It was websites, it was building software, it was SaaS platform, it's AI now, it can be another thing, later down the road. But the actual ROI that you get is always when you ask the question that, hey, what is it that we are really looking to solve here? What is it that is a pain point, is a big hassle? And maybe technology can help with that. A lot of times what we also discover, and funnily enough, is that when organizations start kind of revisiting these processes, they're kind of writing them down, they kind of figure out that, hey, maybe we never needed technology. Maybe it was just a matter of aligning that process appropriately enough, and the result starts coming in. So how do we go about this? We go about by looking at different functions. What are the functions that you have in your organization? It can be sales, marketing, customer operations, marketing, customer services, etc., whatever, generally, and identifying different use cases and processes that are within them. So what are the time-consuming, repetitive things that you have to cover between those processes? Where do bottlenecks currently exist in your business operations? Are there any customer pain points that eventually that AI can help resolve? So for example, and there's a case study we'll cover down the road, is warranty claims. So people can submit, if your org gets hundreds of warranty claims over, and somebody has to kind of manually manage them, maybe there's a chatbot that can help you do that. So the idea really is, think of those functions in your org, think of different processes, think of different use cases, figure out which is the most time spent, what is the frequency of each process that you're running, whether it's repetitive in nature or not, whether it's manual, completely manual, it's a hybrid. Uh, Previous slide, please. Whether it's a hybrid or what, and then define a priority score. So you might have like 50, 60 odd things listed down over here. But then if you look at stats or numbers like that, hey, we spent like 30 minutes a month on this, and and then you can very easily decide that this is something that we don't need to spend time on. However, if there's something that you say that, okay, we're spending like 8 to 12 man hours on a weekly basis, the process is fairly cumbersome, it's repetitive, that could be an ideal use case for you to start off, thinking on how to apply AI. And then that's where you can onboard different consultants or talk to yourself. I mean, talk to within your team, Google it out, whatever. But at least think through this process that, hey, I have to start with the problem. So next slide. So for example, pretty much across all medium businesses, SMBs and organizations, these are the most common business functions, right? So you have sales and marketing, you have operations, you have customer service, you have HR, talent, finance, product R&D, general management, and within those functions, the standard use cases that we've seen over the last 2, 3 years, which have been kind of, where AI has been adopted or where technology has been leveraged. So can be both things. Is basically, within sales marketing, just lead scoring and prioritization, personalized marketing content. Within customer services, it's AI chatbots for support. For the example of warranty claim management, that's an AI chatbot that can, pretty much replace your initial interaction with the customer, where they have common questions like that. Hey, I got a product and this is the damage. Can I file a claim for it on warranty or not? So that's something that AI can help you solve. So think across these functions, think across the different pain points, figure out what your current process is, how much time is being spent, is it worthy enough to invest our energies into this or not? So that's the first starting point. Now, next slide, please. Assuming you figure that out and you now know that, hey, these are the top 3, 4 candidates that I can, or that I can look at, what do we do next? There are 3 ways to go about it. Number one is building a custom GPT. This is the lowest lift, fastest to deploy. So you just simply configure a private GPT model on your data and start using that. So you're leveraging AI now. You have a process that you used to spend, I don't know, an hour on, and all of a sudden it's taking 10 minutes. So you have that assistance with you. The second part is you can use off-the-shelf tools. So there's so many AI products out there, literally solving, a lot of problems. All you need to do is kind of identify that, hey, the use cases that I said, does this tool kind of solve 80% of my issues? So yes, I'm using that. And the third is obviously building a custom AI development using your existing elements. This offers the highest flexibility, because a lot of times when we work with orgs, they have their own custom way or custom processes that they're running through, and they want a custom solution against it, right? So bespoke solution. So this is best for complex, high impact use cases, and that's where you can put them together. Um, all right. So starting with the custom GPT, it's very, it's basically labeled as your private assistants. You can train it on by putting in data and just start setting it up. It can answer, different use cases. It can answer internal team questions based on your company documents. It can help you draft emails, reports, or proposals. It can help you summarize meeting notes, docs, knowledge articles. So, for example, the Firefly is one of the most common tool that a lot of companies are using right now to summarize meetings. So previously you had to write them down manually and then send an email afterward that, hey, these are the notes. It's automatically, now being logged and set up. So that's a great use case for custom GPTs. And you have powering internal chatbots. You have, performing research and competitive analysis. So low lift, high impact, something that helps you on a day-to-day basis. And we even have an example. So Ryan here kind of put together his own personal assistant, and he calls it Sydney. So he can talk about it more as well.
Thanks, Ashar. Yeah, so my name is Ryan Scott. I'm the head of product for DNA Behavior. We're actually a customer of Code District, so they've helped us with some AI development. And I'm joining this call so that I can explain our experience with this custom development approach that Ashar explained a moment ago. But we also have deployed many agents inside of our business. What we do, and I'll explain our case study in a moment whenever we go to those slides. But in short, essentially, we have 4,000 different insights on any individual. So we know how to communicate to them based on insights that are coming out of our technology. We try to go a step further because in our business, it's all about hyper-personalization. So writing emails that are very targeted to our customers. We can do that in two ways. One, by knowing how to communicate to someone from a behavioral perspective, which comes out of our technology. But the other is through demographic data. So I've generated my own personal PA using custom GPTs. So if you're using ChatGPT, which you probably have asked it a few questions, you're going to get kind of a nagging alert at the bottom of there. Hey, you should get a paid version. Try it out because you're going to get all these additional features. One of the features that you get with that paid version for $20 a month is the ability to build a custom GPT. So that's what I'm using in this solution. So I pay the $20 a month, and I have my own personal assistant that I've trained in order to write all of my emails for me and a number of other tasks. So one thing that's really cool about our platform is if you know how to communicate to someone and also some demographic data, these AI bots can be very, very transformative in the way you write. So I've trained my personal assistant on the right tone. But then one thing that is very unique to us in the South is, football season is huge. So if you know in your CRM which football team that someone cheers for, and we have a lot of clients that are traveling around to all the different games, if I have a UGA fan, an Alabama fan, and an Auburn fan, and those data insights are coming out of my CRM, I then can write hyper-personalized emails to them. So I can say, hey, I know you're going to Tuscaloosa this weekend, or I know you're going to Gainesville, or that game last weekend was great, but it's the AI that's basically pulling all those insights for me. And if I was going to do that all manually, that would take hours. So that's just one example of how I've analyzed my own process, determined where I could make it fine-tuned and more streamlined, and then used AI in order to make it happen. So I'll explain a little bit more about our business and our specific custom case study in a moment, but I'll hand it back over to Ashar so that he can talk about that level 2 AI build, which is off-the-shelf solutions.
Thank you. Thank you, Ryan. All right. So the idea over here, there's several tools out there. You have Midjourney, which is an AI tool for generating images. You have Click, which is basically business analytics and intelligence tool. You have Replit, which helps in coding. You have Canva for designing. You identify again based on the processes that you did early on, the problem matrix that we created, and we figured out, hey, which off-the-shelf solutions do we can help me out, and then you kind of put them, play around with them a little bit, and start using them. So, for example, some of the solutions. Next slide. Could be for customer sentiment analysis. You can use Lexilytics. For lead scoring and prioritization, you have tools within HubSpot and Freshsales for a product. If you are running a business where you're collecting a lot of logs, so you have to at times you have to find anomaly detections within the log. So manually going through them versus using Microsoft Copilot to do that for you. For designing purposes, you can use Canva. And we have an example here as well that how fast and how quick a certain leveraging these off the tools help be. So the use case here, while you watch the video, is that we wanted to create a landing page for a pet store called Paradise, and we gave a Canva. So this tool is called Vercel. We just gave it a prompt and some images, and it's starts doing its magic. Let's see that. So it's generating a code base. Obviously, you need help to deploy it and set it up, but the first draft is like out in 5 seconds. So you have a landing page where you can, sell playful stuff. All right. So yeah, this is a good example of using off-the-shelf software. The third is the custom AI development. So this is basically everything built around your business. So with Gen AI and these large language models coming in, previously it was very hard to code AI applications. You had to train a lot of data, first find a lot of data, then make it ready for being used in the machine learning process, then find algorithms that will possibly help you, solve that problem that you want to solve, then train that data, and then you start figuring out the solution. So with LLMs, all of that trouble is pretty much, you know, gone because you have this system where you can just call. It's already trained on thousands and petabytes, and I don't know what's even bigger than petabytes, but that amount of data. And all you need to do is leverage that through prompt engineering, chainings, and agents, etc. But I don't want to get into that stuff. But the idea really is you figure out, again, your problem. So you start with an existing LLM. We can use OpenAI, Claude. We can even use our own custom models and deploy them and set them up. We leverage tools like Cursor, Lovable for AI powered dev, or low code, no code platforms like Power Automate, or we can do even custom as well. Again, depending on the kind of problem, you connect all those dots together. You figure out where your data is going to be coming from. You fine tune that LLM based on the data that you have within your organization, and boom, you have a working product which is very customized as per your data, customized around your business process, and completely built around on what you're looking for. We usually ask organizations to invest if there's a long-term value out of it, right? So it's something that your team does, and we'll talk about specific case studies as well. On a weekly basis, 30 hours being spent by 2 or 3 people, you kind of automated that time, that ROI goes down to 2, 3 hours. So that's where you start saving money. So yeah, so like I said, the end result being a custom solution. And once this built, how do we scale from this point onwards is, next slide, please, is basically so we suggest to start with a small scale pilot project. Once that starts kicked off, then you can move on to, start scaling it to other processes or even start enhancing. So let's say you had 15, 20 steps in your process that you identified, you automated 15 of them. Once users got getting used to it, you see, okay, what are the other ones that we can add? And you start adding those up. What are the other areas where we can leverage this? And that's how you kind of scale and start making people comfortable with using and leveraging AI within the organization. All right, so very quickly, we'll go through this case study where this is basically a product that we built for one of the products that we built is a compliance analyzer and chatbot using generative AI. So it was for a pharmaceutical and a consulting industry. Their main challenge was that, next slide, please. The main challenge was they had a manual, slow, and time-consuming process. So what happens in pharma industry is that when you're making ads or promotional material, you have to verify it against a set of CFR guidelines or federal laws that, hey, this kind of text cannot be used. So you can't say you have this is the best painkiller medicine out there, but you have to use what, hey, this is one of the best, or something of those. So there's a certain compliance that has to work against those promotional materials. So the idea was that every time these pharmaceutical companies or pharma companies created an ad, they had to they have these consulting companies or third-party companies on board which kind of verify that promotional material against the CFR guidelines, and then only they're able to go live with it. So they had these huge books, and obviously it's just human knowledge as well. If I'm doing this for 15, 20 years, I can very easily recognize some things in it, but there's a manual process through which, if they're analyzing hundreds of ads or hundreds of promotional material, it has to be done in that way. So where AI works best is that if you have a lot of data, and you need a tool to go through that data very quickly, that's where it's the biggest ROI that you can get. So what we did was we kind of took together all the CFR guidelines, the system, the tools, we put that into an LLM, we coupled that with their own proprietary rule system, we put that in, and then you have these two tools that come out of it, which is the next line, which is the Insight Solutions and the AI chatbot tool. So the idea is that you have this Insight Solutions where you can put in 5 or 6 images, it goes through that entire guidelines, it goes through their proprietary rules, and it tells the user that, hey, this ad is good to go, or this had these X, Y, and Z issues, so please fix them, and then boom, you're done, right? So within an hour, if I have 1,000 promotional materials, I have 100 promotional materials I have to go through, this tool can either do all of that. We also developed an AI powered chatbot, so where, let's say, if I have a specific question that, hey, can I use this kind of text in my promotional material, or does it not comply, or if there's any issue, the chatbot kind of converses back, the agent talks to you, asks for the questions, and then you can figure out those solutions, versus you would have been going through all those documents manually, or doing some Google search, or trying to find out the right output against that. So that's where this was basically a compliance tool. Now, if it's built for the pharma industry, think of it in this way. It can be done for any industry wherever you have to have compliance, SOC 2 compliance, any other legal compliances or whatever. So because at the end of the day, it's a structure where you have data and then you have the user interacting with that data. Next slide. The approach was standard. So this was the result. Next slide, please. The approach was the standard software development process approach, where we did the requirement analysis and data collection important. So yeah, one of the biggest things with AI and these tools is it's like garbage in, garbage out, right? So if you don't have the right data, you will not get the right output. So it's very, very important that your data is properly sorted, it's properly organized, arranged, and it's the right thing. Because whatever we input in the LLM would be reading off that data. So having the right sources of data and having the right context around that data is something which is very critical. And then you had your, so these were the result, the entire impact of the automation that we did. It literally had an 80% less manual effort moving, based on what they were doing previously. It became 10 times faster. So a 2-week long review process for a typical client, let's say, generating about 50, 100 promotional materials every quarter, brought down to practically a day. Very good approval rates, and then very fast regulatory search as well. So that was the overall impact over here. I'll pass on to Ryan now to talk about what we did in their company.
Thanks, Ashar. Yeah, so jumping back in and talking about the more complicated or custom AI solution. So we approached Code District so that they could help us with a very specific need in order to disrupt our industry in a unique way. So our business, we've been in business since 2001, and we offer an enterprise behavioral data analytics platform. So think of personality testing and personality assessments, but on a very big enterprise scale. We have technology that companies can park into their own systems in order to understand any of their employees and clients. We measure about 4,000 different insights for every one person. So you can imagine if you're presenting a C-suite dashboard to a C-suite of a major Fortune 500 company, they would have a vast amount of insights that they would be able to pull on either from our system and then also their proprietary data that they have at their company. So that's our core business, is really helping large-scale enterprises really understand how their employees and clients think and work. So our platform, there's 2 different ways that people can use our platform. One is just a data-only option. You can become an ISV partner with DNA Behavior and just get effectively a data stream from our platform. The other way is that you can use our website screens. So one of the projects that we actually worked on with Code District is to revamp the look and feel of this particular platform. So all the screens that you see are things that they helped us with. You can do multi-person views where you could side-by-side comparison of how an employee would work with their manager, or a sales rep versus a client. You can see a number of reports on one specific person. And then we have a new tool called Digital Scan, which is our AI approach that we're focusing on today. Next slide. So if we're just taking a step back to look at what the market looks like in our business and how you would expand. So it's a very interesting model. It's almost a B2B to C model where most of the relationships in our business come from partners. So we have to build relationships with different integration partners, tech partners, also coaches and consultants that actually have the relationship with the enterprises. So we are very different than many of our competitors because we actually have behavior and money insights. We have a long-rooted history in financial services. So we have behavioral economics and behavioral finance data, but then we also have workplace data. So we're kind of competing in two markets at the same time. So we have to be very flexible with our tech so that it can do that. And right now, our main objective is to increase our market share with Fortune 500 companies. And the way that we're doing that is going after companies that have legacy use cases. Primarily, many of them are using Clifton Strengths or DISC. And we have to compete against those and make it very easy and streamlined for our customers to switch over. So if we're looking at this particular challenge that we had, think about a large enterprise that may have 50 or 100,000 PDF reports for previously completed DISC profiles. So we're talking massive scale, and some of those could be just pictures of reports. It could be scanned copies. We would be fortunate enough if we have the actual PDF file. And then we also have demographic data about those individuals that have completed the profiles. So we worked with Code District in order to really work on refining that whole process so that we can take this data that we've gathered from enterprises, pump it into our system, predict how that person would behave or be insights that would belong to them in our platform, and then show them alongside people that had actually completed our traditional questionnaire assessment that we also offer. So the way that we did this, it's a hybrid of AI modeling and machine learning. If you can go back one slide. So the AI model, it does three things all at once. It standardizes user inputs. So imagine if someone's keying into our system and they type in, one of our users has the title of Behavior Superpower Coach. Well, a person may not necessarily know what that is, but it's a business coach. So we have an AI model that standardizes the user inputs to SOC codes in a standard library that we offer. So that's one thing that AI is excellent at and very fast. The other is that it can use AI vision. So that's a tool basically to read files. It could be an image file, a PDF file, or a scanned copy of a competitor PDF report. It could log into or it could be uploaded into our system, and then it translates it into text. It's then readable by a computer or an AI model. And then the modern AI models also can do open web searching. So we use this in order to fill in the gap. So if there's additional insights that we need for a particular person, we can do an open web search. We can find some insights they've used to describe themselves, maybe some information they've shared on their LinkedIn or a blog. We can also access that. And there's a lot of cool personality stuff that we can do with those insights. Then we applied a machine learning model. So another component is doing massive data science projects. It's very simple to do with modern tools now. So we used a machine learning model to basically reverse engineer our own algorithm that we have. So we have 3.25 million people that have completed the assessment to date of the last 20 odd years. And we use machine learning to figure out what insights from a demographic data perspective lead to personality traits. So there's a whole model that does that. And all of that runs in real time so that we have a very scalable model that can take user inputs and also PDF files, compare that against our own data, and then come out with these same 4,000 insights as if someone completed our own questionnaire. Next slide. Great. So then the results of this is in our industry, anything above 75% or 70% is quite accurate because what we're comparing it against is people just guessing. So if you have a salesperson working with a customer at like a used car shop, they would have no idea actually how to sell to that person whenever they're walking up to the office. They would have to guess. So if our insights can know immediately, hey, this is how you present, this is how you sell, this is the pitch deck that you should use, or this is the tone of voice or the speed, That's a lot better than just guessing. So with our AI model, we're about 75% accuracy with the insights that we have. We can measure the same 4,000 insights that someone would have if they completed our full 10-minute long questionnaire. And to date, we've scanned about 50 million people in 4 million businesses. We actually just completed a study where we scanned every single executive in the whole S&P 500, and we're trying to figure out what insights lead to profits from a behavioral perspective. So there's a lot of cool things that you guys can do, to build on these insights. So next, Ashar is going to give us a recap of some budget-friendly AI solutions.
Thank you, Ryan. That was great. All right, so here are some examples. So what we've done is try to cover broad categories which are applicable across different use cases, right? So for example, one of the use cases that we did was where we built an AI agentic system for scraping data. So there was this client of ours which they collect information across different aids. There's 170 fields that their researchers go out, manually scrape websites, PDFs, and even some of the PDFs are in different languages. So they have French, they have Chinese, they have Japanese, stuff like that, and they kind of translate them into English, and then they are able to extract information and fill up that entire 170 column Excel file. So we build an agenting system which picks up each project, goes across these different sources, scraps data, figures out which field is relevant and what information can I find, and parks it in an area where a human can actually go through it, verify it, and then it goes into the actual database and kind of set things up over there. So this kind of a system, previously if 10 researchers are working across 15 projects, now all of a sudden you have 3 researchers working across those 15 projects and everything. And it can be applied to any situation where you have to manually scrape data. Say you have a lot of real estate data that you want to go through, you build engines around it. You have a lot of healthcare data, financial, anything else. The other is warranty claim processing. I know I've been talking about a little. It's a classic customer service use case where you have these organizations which have thousands of requests coming in on a monthly basis, or even hundreds, where they have their customers asking about that, hey, is my warranty applicable, not applicable? The AI agent cannot have a conversation, ask a few questions, and almost 30-40% of those use cases. I know we are all irritated by robots and automatic bots when we call them up, and we're trying to connect to a human actually. But usually at least 30-40% of those use cases are kind of covered and sorted out through that agent, and then the rest go on to their actual customer service teams or human teams as well. And we also built, so another use case is using computer vision and AI. So this is something that's a little close to my heart as well, where what we did is we built a system using vision and AI where you can monitor industrial safety, right? So in facilities, in warehouse, industrial factories and warehouses, you have these forklifts moving around with a lot of people also moving around. So they have to go in and put in and pick up large boxes and move them around. So a lot of time collisions happen between forklifts. Collisions can happen between humans. There are certain humans which overreach on conveyor belts. So you have these EHS protocols and safety people kind of in that facility areas who are looking at it and trying to make sure that people are safe. So that entire manual kind of a process can be replaced by vision cameras, which collects data over time. It can be trained, then data is then used to kind of train all the workers on based on how to be more safe within the organizations. A lot of time, what we also included in was that if 2 forklifts are coming very near to each other, there's an alarm that kind of goes off, so that becomes a warning as well. One of the other use cases that we did was CPT code detection in medical billing. So the idea is you have these doctor notes, you can use AI to analyze the entire clinical progress notes, accurately identify the relevant CPT codes, and do that suggestion. So that's a complete manual process where there are billers out there who look at the doctor notes and then see which insurance code, kind of matches against their diagnostic. So this can be done in a predictive way as well. So, and all of these were highly, solutions that are actually transforming all these industries and helping them do a lot of work much faster, maybe at times more accurately as well. And yes, that kind of summarizes our session and finishes off. We'd love to open the floor for any questions and answers. I know we have 10 minutes, so I hope that should be enough. So Carrie, over to you, please.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that, everyone. Thank you. Yes, if you have any questions that you'd like to ask, we have some time for that. So you can feel free to either unmute yourself and start talking, or you can post your questions in the chat, however you would like. Just want to say again, thank you to Zara and Ashar and Ryan for today. Thank you so much for sharing all this information with us. And yeah, you can feel free, like I said, to either post your questions in the chat, or you can raise your hand if you're more comfortable with that, or you can just come off mute and start talking, and we would be happy to take your questions.
All right, so I have a question.
Excellent, thank you.
Well, I think this was a great webinar, and my question is from Ashar. So what qualities should I look for in an AI consultant or partner, especially if I'm on a budget?
So I think you can, the way to measure is talk about their past experiences, look at what the work they've done in the past. So standard things. You check out their portfolio, you check out the people the customers that they work with, you have a conversation with them, you talk about your processes, discuss them, and then within the conversation itself, actually you can also find out that, whether they know their things or not. And what I mean, for in our case, when we talk to organizations, we even tell them that, hey, you don't even need a complex AI solution. So you can just do a custom GPT and you should be set to go, right? So you don't need to spend all that money and those kind of things. So you have to, when you talk, when you evaluate, you ask those kind of questions to kind of figure out how involved they are in the process and really understanding us.
Thank you.
Excellent.
That made a lot of sense.
Thank you. All right, and yes, Bianca, this is being recorded, so you can watch the recording. It'll probably take about 24 to 48 hours to be posted, but you can check that out. It will be there soon. Yes. Oh, and we also have a question. Can AI help us if most of our processes are still manual or Excel based?
Absolutely. I think that's where it will shine the most, right? So it's not only integrating AI, but that's also integrating sort of a technology component or a system component as well. So if you have manual processes, a lot of times just collecting. So in the case of the example that I shared earlier, where you're scraping data from a lot of other sources and websites, that's a manual process, right? So that's the prime case for implementing AI. If you have something in Excel and you are if you have a lot of data in Excel and you're creating reports manually at the end of the month for your higher executive management or your own self as well, that part can also be automated. So it doesn't really matter what you are, it's as long as it's a process, there's a certain objectiveness to it and how it needs to be done. There's certain analysis part based on if we are able to provide the right context, AI can help.
Excellent. Thank you so much. All right, and you can have a couple more seconds if you'd like to gather your thoughts. Looks like we have some contact info for everyone today, so thank you so much for that. And if we have any more questions, you can go ahead and post those. If not, I'm going to go ahead and while you may be thinking of some, I'm going to go ahead and remind everyone to join us on April 16th at 12 p.m. Eastern for our next quarterly meetup. We look forward to seeing you there. I've dropped the link in the chat, so you can make sure to register for that. If you're watching the recording later, you can head to our events page and register there. And if we don't have any more questions, then I'd just like to take another opportunity to say thank you so much to Ashar and Zara and Ryan. Thank you so much for sharing all this wonderful information with us. Thank you for being here today. Thank all of you for attending. Thank everyone for watching. And we look forward to when the next time we'll get to spend some time together. And thank you so much for being here today, everyone. Have a great day.
Right. Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.